Today we are going to study Tonight I Can Write, a poem by the famous Chilean poet Pablo Neruda. The real name of Pablo Neruda is Ricardo Elcer Neftali Reyes Basalto. Neruda was not only a poet but diplomat and politician who espoused the values of individual freedom in all respect and equality. And for his views about these essential characteristics of human civilization, he was also exiled for a considerable time from his motherland, which was under the rule of some autocratic rulers. He composes his poems in Spanish language, but his poems are translated almost into all the languages of the world, and he emerges as one of the most popular poets of 20th century. And for his great poetic effort, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1971, and he was also awarded Lenin Peace Prize. This particular poem, Tonight I Can Write, it was published in 1924 with the anthology 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair. And this poem is a monologue where the poet is recounting or remembering his old love and is making a comparison with his present time, which is of solitariness. This poem can be compared with Robert Browning's poem Love Among the Ruins, which is also bringing out the two times, a comparison between the present and the past. But there, the love of Browning is in the present time, and Browning is happy about that. But here, the poet is lamenting the present time where his love is not there with him, and he is suffering from the heartbreak and alienation. Here, the poet oscillates between his old love and the newfound loneliness, and the moving lines are for the beloved that he writes for the last time. The theme of the poem can be viewed as love, love lust, and solitude. The poet, as the speaker in the poem, expresses his loneliness through poetic language and poignant images. He traces the transformation of that old relationship through vivid nature imagery and symbolism to express the self and its evolving dynamics with the spirit of love. The poem begins with a pent up passion that inspires the whole composition. The contrast between the nature that is unchanged and the relationship that has changed is the most dramatic part of the poem. Expression is intensely lyrical and full of agony, but the poignant point is the remembrance of mutual love in the past. The pangs of separation pierces his heart. The sense of universality is achieved in the final lines that promises to be the last, but maybe short term like his love. So let us have a look at the poem. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. Write, for example, the night is starry and the stars are blue and shivered in the distance. So the poet is very lonely. The poet is suffering the heartache and he is expressing his agony by uttering this first line, "Tonight I can write the saddest lines." This is the saddest part of his life so far. And this line has emerged as the refrain throughout the poem. Right? For example, the night is starry. The poet is finding the night is starry, full of stars. And the stars are blue and shiver in the distance. The stars are the part of the blue, the color of love and romance. But they're shivering in the distance. Today the stars cannot be identified with his own love. He cannot identify himself with the star as he was identifying himself with them when he was with his beloved. The night wind revolves in the sky and thinks, "Tonight I can write the saddest lines." And he is also finding the night wind revolving in the sky, and as if they are singing the song of the universe. But tonight I can write the saddest lines. But that within the wind is not finding the voice of his beloved. Therefore, he is resigning to the state of sadness. So tonight I can write the saddest lines. I loved her and sometimes she loved me too. And the poet is confessing. This is a confessional poem as well. I loved her and sometimes she loved me too. So sometimes, why the word sometimes? Because the poet is trying to find out the moments, the precious, rare moments when both of them, they unified in their mind and soul. But these are not the continuous moments. These are the moments of priceless existence. Therefore, sometimes she loved me too. The nights like this one, I held her in my arms. And the night is also making him remember those passionate moments when he was holding his beloved in his arms. So this is a night of remembrance for the poet. The poet is remembering everything vividly. The voice of the beloved, the touch of the beloved, the presence of the beloved through these natural manifestations. How could one not have loved her great still eyes? Tonight I can write the saddest lines. And the poet is also remembering vividly the great still eyes of his beloved. In those eyes, he lost himself. The depth of the eyes made him lose himself. But tonight I can write the saddest lines. But tonight it is a different night. It is a completely opposite night when he is all alone, lost in the silence of the night. To think that I do not have her, to feel that I have lost her. So the very thought that she is not there with him, the very thought that he has lost her, these very thoughts are piercing his heart. These very thoughts are making him suffer intensely and increasing his agony. To hear the immense night, still more immense without her. And the poet is finding the night as immense, endless. It is endless in the absence of the loved one, and more immense without her. The night is immense, but it becomes more immense without her. It is becoming painfully endless, and the words falls to the soul like dew to the pasture. and he finds his composition, his poetry that is emerging out of his pain and suffering, out of the intensity of his agony. It is falling like the dew on the pasture. Because Neruda, as a poet, said that poetry doesn't essentially belong to the poet but to those who use it. So Neruda believed that all the intense emotions, they are helpful in creativity. And here his own suffering as an estranged lover is creating the poetry, and which is not belonging to him only, it belongs to all the people who will come across it. So all the people who will read his poetry, these agonized lines will also feel about the essence of love and the loss of love. What does it matter that my love could not give her? And now the poet is reflecting. He is reflecting that why he was unable to give his beloved back. Where is the failure? Where lies his failure? The night is starry and she is not with me. The same is the night. The nature, everything is same. But why she is not there? Is it his fault? The poet, the lover, is meditating, is reflecting to find out why there is such difference between the past and the present. This is all. In the distance, someone is singing in the distance. But the poet is finding that this charming, beautiful, endless night is only a night for him. In the distance, someone is singing. Someone is singing somewhere, and that song is coming to him through the wind. But in the distance, my soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. And listening to that tune of the song, he is again more agonized that he has lost her, and he is unable to comfort. He is unable to comfort himself. My sight tries to find her as though to bring her closer, and he is yearning. He is searching for her very earnestly here and there, as if to bring her near to him, but she is not there. He looks hither and thither. He tries to find out her in the wind, in the sky, in the stars, everywhere, but she is not to be found. My heart looks for her and she is not with me. The poet's heart is looking for the touch, looking for the presence, looking for the company of the beloved, but she is not with me, and that is the suffering. The same night whitening the same trees, everything remains same. The night is same, the trees are same, and the trees are being whitened by the celestial lights, but the lover is not there. We of that time are no longer the same, and the poet is coming to the present time from the past, making the difference that we no longer the same. I have changed. She has also changed. We are no longer what we were in the past. I no longer love her. That's certain. I am also not in love with her. That is for sure. But how I loved her. But in the past, I loved her so much. And now I am not in love with her. My voice tried to find the wind to touch her hearing, and I am making all the effort through my voice to find out if there will be an echo, if there will be an echo of her voice too in the wind. In the past, when they were together, when they were calling each other, the voices were unifying. But now, the voice of the poet is separated, and it is only coming back to him, not the voice of the lover. She will be another's, as she was before my kisses. So, she will belong to another person, as she was there before they met, before they put each other into their own orbit, before he kissed, she was belonging to someone else, and now also she will again go back to someone else. Her voice, her bright body, and everything will go away. Her voice is lost, the love is lost, her bright body is also lost. Her infinite age, and the poet is also missing her endless age, her deep age, where he was losing himself in the bliss of love. Another's, she will be another's. I no longer love her, that is certain, but maybe I love her. The poet is inconsolable within him. He is telling that I do not love her now, but there is no guarantee that I won't love her if I come across her. Therefore, that is certain, but maybe I love her. Love is so short, forgetting is so long. So here the poet is immortalizing love by telling that she may go away. The poet may not find the company of the lover's body, the voice, the eyes, but he cannot forget the essence of their love. Therefore, he is telling love is so short, forgetting is so long. Love is momentary in its physical unity, but it is eternal in its spiritual dimension. Love is so short, but forgetting is so long. Therefore, nobody can forget the love and its blissful spirit, because through nights like this, one I held her in my arms. The poet is again and again coming back to those moments of togetherness, those moments of happiness, that he is again recounting that how in such nights he was holding her in his arms. My soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. The soul is inconsolable. The soul is unable to accept that he has lost her forever. Though this be the last pain that she makes me suffer, and these the last verses that I write for her. The poet, in these final lines, is talking about the end of their love, but at the same time, he is indecisive, he is uncertain. Though this be the last pain, it may be his last suffering for the love, hankering after that love that is lost, that makes me suffer. And these the last verses that I write for her. And I am writing the last poem for the sake of my lover. But the final lines are not giving a final sense. There is every possibility that he will again be recounting, he will again be yearning for that eternal love. So, the pangs of separation pierces his heart. The sense of universality is achieved in the final lines that promises to be the last, but maybe short term like his love. So this final decision on the part of the poet may also be very short term. He again may go back composing the poems and remembering his lover. The poet confronts the loneliness, pain, and confusion of a breakup. The starry nights that once animated his endless love is now lying in cold, dark loneliness with painful memory. So, the poem is bringing out the sadness and solitude, and it is also making a comparison between the past, which was full of joy, bliss, and intimacy, and the present, which is of coldness, barrenness, and harshness of reality. And the poet is trying to rationalize, but the loss of love cannot be rationalized, that the poet is trying to find out. He is repeatedly returning to that loss, which triggers his meditative lamentation. Therefore, this poem is an emotional turmoil on the part of the poet, and the emotions of sorrow links sufferings to the creativity. Another important aspect of this poem is where Neruda is relating the suffering to the creativity. So, the love as an elemental emotion within humanity is responsible for so much of creativity in this world. So, from this poem, questions can be asked about the technique of the poem, that what the poem is. The poem, as I told you, is a confessional poem, and at the same time it is in the monologue form, but it is not dramatic monologue like that of Browning's. And the poem is very lyrical because it is using the alliteration S, and also it is juxtaposing the emotions, making the comparison between the past emotions and the present. And the poem is a repetition. There is refrain of the first line, "Tonight I can write the saddest lines," and repeatedly the poet is going backward and coming forward and making the comparison. And from the thematic side, the question can also be about how Pablo Neruda is quantifying, or how Pablo Neruda is relating the emotion of love to the human thought and creativity. So, love here in the poem is trying to portray as an endless eternity. It is a spirit that pervades our whole existence.